Acting Minister of Mass Media Lakshman Abivartana convening a special media briefing today provided an explanation regarding the recent disappearance of two members of the Frontline Socialist Party.
जनता युक्त प्रमुख नायकතුමා සෝමවංශ අමරසිංහ මහත්මයා සඳහන් කරා.
Leader of the JVP, Somawangsa Amarasinghe, throughout the past few months stated that he is not aware of an individual by the name of Premakumar Gunaratnam. Meanwhile, Pubudu Jagode is saying that this individual in question had served as the leader of the armed wing in Trincomalee in 1988 and 89 and that he was a stalwart of the party. Then it is said that Kumar Gunaratnam is the unofficial leader of the party. Somawangsa Amarasinghe did not want to reveal the name of this unofficial leader. Therefore, there was a conflict of interest within their party during the recent past. What did he do in the country without a visa for a period of 5 months? The person who was brought to Dematakoda had not even spoken to his party and is not speaking to anyone about the place he was held captive. When walking along the road, he had seen the crimes division. Even we were not aware that the crimes division was located in Dematakoda. He had entered the division and had identified himself as Noel Mudalige. He had said that he is also known as Premakumar Gunaratnam and had wanted to travel to Australia. Two disappeared. However, one turns up at a media briefing. She doesn't go to the crimes division. She does not even know where she went. However, she arrives at a media briefing and says that she has suspicion about the JVP. Throughout the history of the JVP, there were two groups. One group engages in politics and the other group murdered people by appearing as the Patriotic People's Movement. The JVP at no point were willing to accept the fact that the Patriotic People's Movement was affiliated to the JVP. There is no change in that notion. This is a part of an international conspiracy to inconvenience the government. I have to say the same thing that Dimuthu said. I cannot point the finger at just one direction. However, we can very clearly say that the government was not involved in this abduction and did not carry out this arrest.
මේ හොරු මේ විදියට ක්‍රියා කරනවා නම් මේ අය මහත්තුරු හැටියට අඳුන්වන හුඟක් දෙනෙක් අතර දැන්.
Most Venerable Itapane Dhammalankara and Colombo Archbishop, His Eminence Reverend Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, reiterate that it's undemocratic to abduct an individual for bearing an opposing political view. Issuing a joint communique, they state that abductions are viewed as an act that demeans the supremacy of the people and added that such actions are against the principles of all religions.
The two religious leaders point out that if any person has acted against the law, they should be punished through the judiciary and the law enforcement authorities and not through extrajudicial methods. The statement went on to state that it was alarming to note that acts of this nature appear to be fair by certain elements. The statement added that it was the duty of those responsible and the general public to ensure that disappearances such as these do not take place in the future.
Senior Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake says that as Sri Lankans, they're sometimes ashamed when certain incidents take place. He made these comments at a function that was held in Ingiriya today.
People are being taken away. I don't know who are behind such incidents. Incidents of this nature should not take place in an ethical society. Such incidents should not take place in an independent and democratic country. I don't know who are responsible for these incidents, but we too have a responsibility to bring those responsible to justice. If someone abducts us while we are travelling on the road, that clearly restricts our freedom. It is the duty of everyone to prevent such incidents. Don't misinterpret what I say. What I want to say is that we feel ashamed as Sri Lankans when this sort of incidents take place in our country.
Meanwhile, speaking at an event in Hiniduma Gaul, UNP parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara expressed these views on the alleged abduction of Premakumar Gunaratnam.
A new radical party has emerged in the country. They are the low level of the JVP. They are the ones who pasted posters for the JVP. They have now left the JVP and formed a separate party. Now what happened? They took him and went. Said that he is an Australian. We don't know his name. There is no one called Kumar Gunaratnam. However, he said that there was an Australian who came here and said that such a person cannot be allowed to engage in acts of mischief. However, an American can do so. Is an American citizen. Is also an American citizen. That means that an American citizen can come here and engage in acts of mischief, but an Australian citizen cannot do so.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa states that the Sinhalese and Muslim communities in the island have acted with a lot of trust since the past. The head of state made this statement while participating at a function in Nuwara this morning.
A building that was constructed for Muslims in the Nuwara district was declared open by President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim communities have been living together in harmony for a long time. History shows us the manner in which Kandyan kings recognized the Muslim people by inviting them to live in various parts of the hill country. Since then, both these communities have been trusting each other. Your contribution was a great source of strength when this country was being rid of terrorism. You have acted in this manner from ancient times because you love this country. I do not need to say that in some countries, communities are divided because each community wants to occupy territories in a respective country.
According to the Hindu newspaper, India and Sri Lanka were engaged bilaterally in nuclear technology-related issues.
Sri Lankan High Commissioner in India, Prasad Karyavasam, speaking to the Hindu, had noted that discussions on the technical level issues would commence soon. Karyavasam said that due to the ongoing protests in Kudankulam, people in Sri Lanka too had become aware of the issue. Meanwhile, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Ashok Kanta, had told the Hindu that a bilateral process is already underway and nuclear safety was also being discussed. He further said that appropriate steps will be taken within the framework of the guidelines provided. According to NDTV, when completed, the Kudankulam nuclear power plant will be India's largest nuclear power plant and it will be located 250 kilometers away from Mannar.
Let's now take a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day, which we selected from amongst today's English newspapers.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that if Sri Lanka is to maintain an economic growth of over 8% in the next few years, the country needs to overcome several key challenges. Director of the Economic Research Department at the Central Bank, Swarna Gunaratna, points out, in order to achieve this target, domestic savings should be strengthened further.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka organized a seminar yesterday to elaborate on the facts revealed in the Central Bank Annual Report for the year 2011.
In the annual report, we have given various challenges of our economy. Still, we have to address various challenges in our economy. One such challenge is managing risks arising from global developments. That is largely due to geopolitical problems in global economy. Then there could be an increase in oil prices. We will have to address this because our foreign exchange earnings will have to be used largely to import oil. Also, improving financial viability of state-owned enterprises. This has been an issue for several years, so we will have to take some measures to improve their financial viability. Also, upgrading the existing public transportation system is essential, because there are a large number of private motor vehicles because of the lack of facilities in the public transportation system. So in order to reduce cost and time, we will have to improve further public transportation system.
Here, Swarna Gunaratna also stressed on the need to increase earnings in the country.
Then establishing Sri Lanka as a key destination for attracting new foreign direct investments. In this direction, various measures have already been taken, but further measures are needed in order to address institutional constraints, in order to address this. Also, developing innovative methods for energy conservation is essential. We have to incur a lot of money for energy sector. Also, addressing challenges faced by Sri Lanka's tea industry. We have to encourage replanting of tea in order to continue our tea industry as a good source of foreign exchange earning. Then modernizing Sri Lanka's education system to fulfill the requirements of the labour market is essential.
Starting off your sports news this evening, Sri Lankan cricketer Kumar Sangakkara has been named among Wisden's 5 cricketers of the year. England pair Alistair Cook and Tim Bresnan were also among the 5.
The 5 cricketers of the year are chosen by Wisden since 1889 to reflect an impact on the game, and no player can be chosen more than once. Sri Lankan batsman Kumar Sangakkara becomes the first cricketer to be the leading cricketer in the world and make the list in the same year. Sangakkara compiled 2,267 international runs last year with 5 centuries and 13 half-centuries. Alistair Cook scored 927 test runs last year as England won 10 out of 10 test matches and replaced India as world number 1. Tim Bresnan bagged 16 wickets at an average of 16 against India in their test series last year. Lancashire captain Glenn Chappell and Worcestershire seamer Alan Richardson complete the list of 5.
On to some football news now. FIFA Club World Cup runner-up and Brazilian giant Santos prepare to celebrate their centennial this week, launching a book describing the history of the club with football legend Pelé in attendance.
Pelé, who was named Athlete of the 20th Century by the International Olympic Committee, took the opportunity to talk about several issues. With the rivalry between Brazil and Argentina being one of the most intense in football, Pelé rejected the idea that former Argentina striker Diego Maradona or even 3-time FIFA Player of the Year Lionel Messi could be a better player than he was. Pelé also spoke about Brazil's chances of winning the gold medal at the Olympic Games. The gold medal is highly valued in Brazil because it's the only title they have never won. Santos FC will reach the 100-year mark as a club on the 14th of April.
Staying in the game, Barcelona midfielder Sergio Busquets said today that Barcelona defender Eric Abidal is recovering well after a liver transplant, but the coming days for Abidal are very important.
French international Eric Abidal underwent a lengthy operation yesterday, which finished after Barcelona's 4-0 La Liga victory at home to Getafe, during which the whole stadium chanted Abidal's name and applauded the fullback. Abidal had surgery to remove a tumour from his liver last March before making a triumphant and emotional return to lift the Champions League trophy at Wembley just 2 months later. Last month, the club said that Abidal would need a transplant but did not say how long he would be out of action. Barcelona have lost Abidal in a critical time of the season as they have advanced to the Champions League semi-finals and are now just a point behind Real Madrid in the race for the La Liga title.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. Of course, don't forget to log on to www.newsfirst.lk for the very latest on the world around you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Kumarini Rajakarna. Hope you have a great long weekend and a happy Sinhala and New Year.